Hi, my love. Welcome back. Today, I want to continue on the topic of loneliness because I do think it's on par with, what so many people are going through in the world. But I really wanted to start talking about it more on a spiritual level because I do feel that it gives us a bit of a purpose and it also allows you to have a sort of how can I say that? Alignment with something beyond yourself. And I personally find that it can help inject back joy and contentment and just acceptance, but not just acceptance, but perhaps also kind of thrive in it. At the same time, once we start understanding the bigger picture behind things. So, I wanted to talk about sometimes people, people, others, not us, sometimes we would experience, whether it is at a point, why am I shouting? At a certain point in life, we experience some bouts of loneliness. Some people I know, they feel like it's permanent, but I don't think it's ever fully permanent. I'm not belittling anyone's experience, but I just want us to start seeing loneliness as a chapter of, our lives sometimes, and for many of us, many times, and understanding what is happening. Sometimes we have to the perspective I wanted to take in today's episode was more like because I hear this often, not something that people talk about out loud because there's a lot of shame that tends to be linked to that. But sometimes I would hear that in sessions with clients where they would be jealous of their sister getting married or a dear friend finding a relationship really fast. And there's always that looming, why not me? What's wrong with me? That often follows right after. And again, I wanted to talk about that from a spiritual perspective. And this is where I find that the birth chart can give so much clarity. This is what I'm going to tell you. If you haven't gotten your birth chart yet, what are you waiting for? And I also put my link down below so you could get a birth chart reading with me also because I feel like everyone should know what's in their birth chart. It's literally, I do believe it is the light, the creator, our soul telling us what's up, what's the assignment for this lifetime. And we would be a fool not to know, not to even be interested or even glancing at our chart because it's your cheat sheet. It's like your personal guidance or GPS. I was gonna say MapQuest. Any one of us remember MapQuest back in the days before Google Map was a thing? Oh my goodness, I'm giving my age here. So we can see a lot of these things, a lot of answers in the birth chart. Also, like I said previously in another episode, past life regressions will also give you a lot of answers also. That way, once why do we want to know these things? Not because we wanna flex our control freak aspect of us. No, not really. It's just again to help us release some of this sadness, woe me, why not me, energy that we often carry with us because then we start to understanding the greater purpose behind things. Like I also mentioned in the previous episode, our soul doesn't really care about the little our little physical comfort. Now, it's not saying that our soul wants to torture us, but you have to understand it's like a duality that's always happening. There is our body consciousness, what the physical body, the physical you wants, which is all the self-centered things we like to do, you know, eating, all of the comfort things, nothing wrong with them. But if we just let our physical self take the lead, this is how we end up in overindulgences and going to the extreme of pleasure and not understand the concept of balance because that's what our body cares about, and our soul is literally at the opposite of the spectrum. The soul really cares about the connecting to the light, revealing itself, and that is often in very uncomfortable ways, meaning sharing with others, loving, these type of things that are really hard for us humans because of the human aspect to actually live day by day. So this is why what we have to understand is that before our soul comes here, there's a bit of a the soul has a bit of a decide, okay, this time around in this reincarnation, in this lifetime, what do I want to focus on? And this is where your birth chart can actually show you where, where is all of the action in your birth chart and what is the focus of the specific lifetime you're looking at. And this is why some people, I mentioned it before, but some people, I find it fascinating when I'm doing birth chart readings. I find it fascinating. It's crazy how it's the cosmos, it's literally talking to you and it's tailor made for you. I can analyze 1,000 birth chart and every single one of them is going to be different. There is no such thing as two birth chart that are exactly the same. Even if you take two twins that are born, very, very closely apart, closely together, their birth charts is not going to be the same. It's just fascinating when you think about it, because also, let's be for real, it's never going to be like the same second, the same minute. Usually there's also a delay even between twins. So what we notice here is a lot of time there will be activities in the relationships quadrant, and then a lot of time there's going to be more planets concentration in the self quadrant. So a lot of time we might experience loneliness in life more than we want to, is because your soul's curriculum for this lifetime isn't necessarily very relationship focused. Now, it doesn't mean that you're doomed to be lonely forever. That's not what it means. But if you constantly find yourself alone, isolated, often it's because, like I said, you're not, doesn't mean that you doomed forever and for the rest of your life, but it's often because we're not paying attention to what the soul really wants us to pay attention to. And life, the universe will keep on throwing those opportunities. What we call as what we call challenges, or what we call tests, is literally the universe, the light, constantly giving us another chance, giving us more. All right, you didn't get it last time, let's try again. The sad thing is, the obvious often what happened is the energy is gonna be cranked up, because obviously if you didn't pay attention, you didn't notice before, then they're going to have to increase the intensity in the next round, right? So this is what we want to kind of avoid, and really start tuning into the little quiet whispers of our soul, in order to avoid the chaotic, the loud shout, and the loud, everything in your life falling, breaking apart, because again, trying to catch your attention. So that's what I wanted to talk about. So a lot of time we will find ourselves in the lonely bouts. It's literally because sometimes it's because we've had previous lifetimes where we've given our power away to other people. We haven't really, or the soul really wants to balance a bit more, and work more on you learning to be more assertive, you learning to be take your power back, you learning to be more taking your power back, and learning to go through life in a self-sufficient way. So in order to do that, you might find yourself isolated. And again, this is where often it's so fascinating when we think about it. Often your map will show that with a lot of focus activities in the first quadrant, which is the quadrant of the self, and the first house, which is pretty much all about the self, the second house, which is about, again, resources of the self, and the third house, which is literally communication. It's all the self actualization first quadrant. And then, so you will tend to see more planetary activities, more placements, more aspects in that area of the chart, whereas someone else who might have a different curriculum in life, different soul curriculum of, learning. Maybe that person in previous past life was a little bit too selfish, a little bit too self-focused, a little bit too self-centered. That person might be pushed more into relationship in order to create friction, and for them to learn to work more with the other, to learn to be a little bit less self-centered, to learn to share more. So this is where I think we need to start bringing that conversation back in the, in the open, because I want to see more of this perspective, not just the whole why can I have a relationship? What's wrong with me? And of course, this is a very, very, very complex topic. I'm not belittling, or I'm not brushing off any of our struggles. I just want to start adding more dimensions and more complexities to what is a complex situation. And there are many, many, many reasons. That is just one of them. And I wanted to touch upon that in today's episode. And we will keep diving more into this. Is why I want to really start bridging spirituality with common day to day life issues, day to day life struggles, not just struggles, but day to day life, way that we should strive to live on a daily life. So, this is why I think spirituality is not just. It's not just a concept that we study in books. They're pretty much guidelines and to help us not feel so lost in life and understand that everything is connected. There's a purpose to everything, and this is what spirituality is all about, teaching us, for us to understand what exactly is going on in this simulation we call life. On that note, my love, I will see you in the next one, and keep shining bright like a diamond. And bye. Take care. And also, like, oh my goodness, can we just admire the ring game we have today? The jewelry game. If you're on YouTube, you can see that. If you on the podcast, there's all sorts of things going on with the rings. I really love jewelry, but just rings. We do have a big transparent rock, a black heart, a purple, silver jewelry, and then we do have this beautiful two-piece jewelry that just springs around my middle finger, and then my how do you call this finger? The ring finger, which is so beautiful. I bought it here in Georgia, and then a little heart. This is so fitting for today's topic. We're talking about love, loneliness, and stuff like that, and lots of hearts. On that note, I'm sending you lots of hearts, my love, and I'll see you in the next one.